Hi, it's Tammy with Tammy Creations, and today we're going to be making these very pretty dangle earrings, and these are using dead soft square copper wire and 2 teardrop stones, and if you have ovals or circles, that would work as well. So if you are interested in learning how to make these, then just keep watching. Okay, so to make this pretty earring, it could also be a small pendant. You'll need this is a teardrop stone. You could also do it with an oval or a circle. I think this one is about a 10 by 12 millimeter, sorry, 10 by 12 millimeter stone. And I'm using 21 gauge dead soft square copper wire, and I just like this on the smaller stones. The 21 gauge is you know, it's a little smaller than 20, and it just seems to fit the size better, so it doesn't take over the stone quite as much. And then these are each 9 inches, although I'm fairly certain I won't need that much, and I will put in the description exactly how much I do use. I also am using 22 gauge dead soft copper half round wire, and then the usual flush cutters. These are tweezer nose pliers, or you can just use your chain nose, and then round nose pliers. So to begin, we'll take all of our square wires and put them together, and then taking our half round, we'll find the center, and I like to start it underneath with the flat side pointing toward me, so that when you go around, the half round side is facing out. Okay, so we're just gonna do about 10 wraps, so that we'll end up with 4 or 5 on each side. So just going around, pushing them together. And then I just like to use my nylon pliers to press those down. And I'm just gonna unwrap this one because it got a little bit off. Continue on this side. Press down. All right. And then on one side, we just cut off in the center the excess wire and press those down. I'm sorry, I've been sick for the last week and a half and just kind of can't get over this bug. So I keep clearing my throat, and I'm sorry. So now we're going to make a V, and we're going to make this V shape for at the bottom. And I just put my pliers a little bit to the right of center and then push upward to make that V. And then it ends up putting my wires pretty evenly on either side, the wraps. And I like to do it about a 45-degree angle, but it will depend on the size of your stone. And I put my stone in with the rounded side down, like this. And it's a little easier for me just to hold it in the air and put my stone in there and get it to about the right place. And when you're making earrings, it's a little bit harder because you want to make sure that they're exactly the same. They're there at the same height. And making these rounded on both sides. It also helps me to turn it over to the back and go ahead and make the bend in the back with one of these, with the back wire. And for this one, I'm going to do it fairly high so that it will not show from the front. So I'm going to bend that inward. And that will give us a place for our stone to sit while we are working on bending these other stones around it. I mean, these other wires around it. So it just takes a little bit of finagling to get that right. But you do want to make them about the same height. And I did end up bending these inward just a tad to make that secure. All right, and then what I did was I took the very front wire on either side and curled it around. If I can get a hold of it like this. And this one on this side did the same thing so that they make a nice cross right in the center there, just below the point of the teardrop. And then I wrapped each one of those around the neck. So just bringing each one of those around the neck. Like so. And then one more time around with each one. Like this. Okay. And from here, once you get those going around and nice and tight, then it's easier to work. You can let go and everything is in place. So from here, I separated out, let's see, on this side, just pushing these wires out to the sides. Let's see, that was a back one, so let me pull this one over. There we go. So we've got these two, and then two on either side. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull these that are on the sides kind of down and forward just a little bit to get them out of the way. And we can also go ahead and trim in the back these that we're going around. And since they're earrings, I mean, you can tuck them in because you don't want them to poke out at all, but they're not going to hit the skin the way a pendant might. But you still want to tuck those in as best you can. And this part here will get covered up, but just try to make it as neat as possible. Bring this one back around better. All right. Now we're going to take these two wires and we're going to make this little loop for our ear wire to slip through. So we're going to take our round nose pliers and we're just going to place them right where we want our loop to end up being. So I'm going to eyeball that to make sure it's where I want it, and then I'm going to start going around this jaw there. Then I'm going to replace it. The other one, let's just make sure that is the same. It's a little bit, there we go. Should be a little bit smaller. So let's check that now. Okay, that looks better. I'm going to take a hold of these with my chain nose, and then I'm going to take these ends and just wrap them around once. And then we're just going to kind of clean this up to make these these two wires sit nice together. That. And after you've pulled the tail around, let's see, I probably could have done with, I definitely could have done with 8 inches of each instead of 9 of the wires when I started. I'm going to tuck that in. There we go. So those are level. Okay, that looks good. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take, just going to separate these out a bit to make sure that the stone is covered on the sides. Okay. I'm going to take this front wire on the right, and I'm going to curve it around like this, just underneath that wire, and then I'm going to bring it around the other direction like this, so that it meets right at that cross there, actually a little bit above it. So let's make that a little smaller. Yeah, so bring it up just a tad, so it's right up in that space, that little V space at the top. And then we're just going to trim off here. And tuck that in just a bit better. Okay, then we're going to take the next wire and we're going to come around a little bit behind here, like where it's already coming out from, and we're going to just follow along and make a little bit smaller curve there on the right. So we're going to bring this around to follow that curve that we just made. And then we're going to bend it the same direction, coming up and around. And trim it off. So just kind of shadowing that curve that we made on the first one. Okay. Then we're going to bring the front one on the left and we're going to bring it across the front and make a very small loop a little bit lower on the left here. We'll trim that there. Just be careful you're only cutting the one wire, because there's lots of wires in there. It's easy to accidentally cut one from behind as well. I've done that before. All right. Just kind of press that down. And then finally, we've got one more wire, and we're going to bring it around kind of along the side and just curl it in. So we're going to bend it around so that it's facing outward to the side mostly. And we're going to curl it up and trim it off here. Again, making sure only to cut that one wire. Oops. And then tuck this in a bit. And that's it. Then you just want to make sure all of the wires are in the direction that you want them. And then we will add the oxidize and add the ear wires. And you've got a nice pair of earrings. And if you had another stone, I actually only had 2 like this, but if you had another stone like it, you could make a pendant and then you would have a matching set. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and thanks for watching. So here they are after oxidation, and I've got little ear wires here to put them on. So just open and making sure to insert it so that when you have it on, it's facing front ways. There you go. Oops, that one's backwards. Well, you know, you have 50% chance of getting it right. There we go. There we go. And there they are. My hands are dirty from polishing, but I think they turned out nice. All right. Hope you enjoyed that one. Thanks.